Hello and welcome. This is just a basic lowdown on the spells for a Mistweaver monk, as it currently is in the Mr. Pandaria beta. So, everything's subject to change, but the first spell, which is really interesting, is the Healing Sphere. This is basically when you spawn a sphere anywhere you want, as you can see by the video, which will be consumed when an ally walks through it and heal them. You can only place 3 at a time, but it's quite a nice little feature, and I can imagine it'll be good for stacking phases and basically fights where you know where certain people are going to go. So the next spell, which is also interesting, is to summon a Jade Serpent statue. You can summon up to 2 of these, and basically while these are up, when you deal damage, the Jade Serpent statue will heal the lowest nearby target within 20 yards, equal to 50% of the damage done. And also, players can right click it like a light well and get healed for quite a bit, but it only lasts up to 10 charges. So I guess we're going to be screaming at people to click on the statue, not the light well from now on. But I think it's a really nice feature to the healing, and it adds a bit of variety, not just spamming heals all the time. This next one is a new static buff, which correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the old Blessing of Kings and Mark of the Wild, I'm not sure. But basically it increases the strength, agility and intellect by 5% of all party or raid members. This is another sign that monks are going to be quite vital in PvE raiding, I can imagine anyway, with some of the cooldowns that they have, which you'll see later on, and this buff is quite impressive. Now we'll go on to the actual healing spells. The first one is Renewing Mist, which is basically a hot which you can cast. When I was doing this dungeon, I cast it on the tank mainly because it spreads to other players up to 3 times. So it's basically a AoE hot, which is going to be quite nice. But other than that, it's just a regular hot. There's not much to it. This next spell is another small hot, which is only 6k over 7 seconds on my character, but it gives a 15% chance to generate chi, which is what you use to cast your better heals, which also require more mana. The interesting thing about this is it's 2k mana when you cast it, but then plus another 2k mana per second, so it's quite expensive as well. So if you were to just spam this, it wouldn't do your mana any good. As I said though, if you use Soothing Mist with this spell, Surging Mist, which is a channeled heal, which can heal a target within 40 yards, 26k as it is on this, and also generates 1 chi. But if you use Soothing Mist with Surging Mist, the Soothing Mist will become an instant spell, which is extremely effective, and you can top people up really quickly, but it takes a big toll to your mana pool. And mana control isn't too clear as it is at the moment. I think we only have one spell which is clearly for mana regeneration. Now as we generate chi through our lesser spells, we get to use this bad boy, which is Chi Wave. It's a pretty nice big heal, which, well, it says 10 to 15k, but the tooltip always lies. It's not just a regular heal though, because it bounces up to 5 targets, so it also has that part of AoE on it. This works the way Holy Shock works with a paladin, in the fact that it could be used to do damage and healing, and it's an instant. But instead of generating holy power like a paladin would, obviously this spends chi. But it's nice, really nice. Now the Mistweaver also get the Arse Saver spell, or Revival, which basically is an instant heal, which will heal everyone that you can see for basically half their health. And also, it's a Mass Dispel as well. It will remove magical, poison and bleed effects. The bleed effects is quite interesting actually, because I'm not sure, I haven't played Priest or whatever, but I don't actually know if their Dispel works on bleed effects as well. I've never read that. But yeah, it's the arse saving cooldown. I used it quite a lot in this dungeon because I didn't actually know what I was doing. I was just experimenting, but it comes with a 3-minute cooldown and 7k mana cost, but it's really nice. It's the kind of heal which I can imagine would have been a lifesaver during progression with Ultraction before the nerf, because basically with that extra 2% or 3%, using this to save your aid's arse and top them all back up is just insane. And then we get arse saver number 2, which is meditation, another 3-minute cooldown, which is ridiculous. It's another reason why I think Mistweaver is going to be pretty vital during progression in Mr. Pandaria, unless this all gets nerfed. But basically, it reduces all damage taken to yourself by 100%, well 99%, but let's say 100, and it redirects all harmful spells cast against the party and raid to yourself within 30 yards. It lasts 8 seconds and it's a channeled spell, and any contact by a melee attack will break the meditate. But it's so obviously you sacrifice healing for damage reduction, I guess. But I think it'll be interesting and could possibly save arses quite a few times. And well, this next spell has to be my favourite Mistweaver spell, as it is at the moment. It's called Life Cocoon, and it's basically the monk equivalent of a Hand of Protection from a paladin. It is a 2-minute cooldown, and it costs 2 chi to cast, but it encases the target in a cocoon of chi energy, healing them for 6% of their health every 1 second, and causing them to be immune to all harmful damage and spell effects. So basically, it's a bubble, but it heals as well, which is just ridiculous. While you have the cocoon on you, you move at a 50% less speed, and you're not allowed to, well, you can't attack. So basically, if you're using this to save someone from getting out of the fire, depending on how big the fire is, they're gonna have to move their asses while in the bubble, I guess. But I can't see any fault with it. It's awesome. It looks incredible. The next spell is Expel Harm, which is an instant heal for... it's a big. You basically heal yourself and cause 100% of the amount healed to be instantly dealt to a nearby enemy as damage within 10 yards. So that's an awesome spell. Without the glyph, you can only use it on yourself, but there's only 2 glyphs out at the moment. The rest are to be confirmed, but one of them is Glyph of Expel Harm, which will mean you can cast it on any target, which will just be an awesome instant heal. It's not got a cooldown, it's just 6k mana. It'll be really nice. Very nice. And then that brings us to the mana control. Wahey. During this dungeon I did, mana control was a complete bitch because I didn't read this properly and I didn't use it properly, but it's quite nice. It combines a mana cooldown with a buff, with a mana buff at the same time. It's similar to Water Shield, but it has its huge differences. It's a 2-minute buff, so it's going to need to be refreshed, and it stacks up to 50. For each free chi you consume while healing, you gain 1 stack. For each stack you have restores 2% of your mana while channeling the spell. So basically, you cast the buff, you generate stacks, and then you channel the buff to restore your mana. And obviously, with it stacking up to 50 and 2% each stack, if you build up 50 stacks, you will get all your mana back during the channel. That makes me think that getting 50 stacks is probably not going to be... it's not going to happen that much. But then again, just to sacrifice a couple seconds of healing to channel your way back up to 100% mana is awesome, and it's a really effective way of getting your mana back. Another interesting thing is if you cancel the channel, it will not waste stacks. So basically, if you want to use 10 stacks of mana back, if you want to get 10 stacks of mana back, get 10 stacks of mana back. You can cancel it, and you can start again from however stacks you have left after that. So it looks quite nice. It's a nice change of not just pop Divine Plea as Paladin or something like that. And well, this next spell is a lesser, I guess it's a lesser cooldown, but not a cooldown. It's an instant cast, but there's no cooldown stated. I can't remember if that's a bug, and there was one in game, but it's 9k mana, so I imagine it's not a cooldown. But basically, when you cast it, you regenerate 1 chi every 2 seconds for 6 seconds, which is nice. It's nice for intense healing when you want to use your powerful heals that cost chi. But other than that, there's not much to it. It's really as simple as just a small buff, have some more chi, throw out some more heals. And this next one is a uplift, which is a heal which basically will consume your renewing mist hot on an ally and replace it with an instant heal for a fair bit. It's similar to, I cannot remember the name, but a druid, one of the druid heals. I don't play Resto Druid, don't shoot me. But yeah, so that's all the healing spells really. That's most of the spells that are on the beta at the moment. They have a dispel which will dispel a poison, a magic effect, and a bleed effect. Which again, like I said before, I don't know if I'm being a complete noob in saying that I don't think there's a dispel that works on bleed effects yet in the game. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't, but again, another reason why having a Mistweaver might be a huge advantage in PvE progression. But looking at the current state of how they are, they've got some huge benefits that they can bring to raids. If it's not the buff, it's the cooldowns and their mobility with the roll and everything. They look like a really good class, and just through one dungeon I really enjoyed healing as it, and I didn't necessarily have a clue what I was doing. So I'm actually considering rolling Monk Mistweaver, but I'll miss my Holy Paladin. But it looks tempting. And that's it really. Thank you for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe. I'm likely to be posting more gaming videos from now on, but this is my new channel, so this is the first. Peace out.